The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody. This is Mitch Ribak with eXp Realty, Tropical Beachside team. I also have Jeff Funk on the call with us this morning. And
Morning, Mitch.
say hi, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Um, so today we're going to have a few things we got to do. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, why I moved over a $140 million company to eXp. I'll let Jeff talk for a little bit about why he moved over his team from Orlando into eXp, and then we're going to kind of go through the presentation, just kind of discussing, some of the benefits of why we did this. I'll start with a really, quick background. We were one of the biggest brokerages in Brevard County, Florida. We did 700 transactions last year. We were number 7 in the company. In the county as far as brokerages out of 500. We did about it was 147 million is what we did in transactions. So a lot of people are telling me, ask me, why would you take a thriving large real estate brokerage and move it over to a company that you no longer are the broker for? And so I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to kind of go over that and why I did that. Back in 2016, in November 2016, I had the opportunity to sell Tropical Realty, and as a business owner, I'm sure some of you are brokers out there. As a business owner, my goal was to build the company and sell my company. That's what I've done for the past 38 years. Yes, I am that old. And when I went through the whole process of selling the company, what I learned is it's almost impossible to sell a real estate company because of the stipulations they put in. For instance, if you sell your company, you have to retain your agents, the ones that you bring over, for up to 3 years to get your full payout. Also, they wanted me to sign an employment contract, which meant sitting in an office for 40 hours a week. As you know, nobody goes to the office anymore. So sitting in an office for that much time and trying to figure out, what would I just do all day? Would I just sit there and wait because no agents come to the office anymore? So, anyways, that's what prompted me to start looking more at eXp because I realized I couldn't sell the company. And when I couldn't sell the company, it was time to say, what's my exit strategy? And I didn't have one at that point. My exit strategy was blown out the door. So I looked at eXp for about a year and a half at that point and did a couple of moves. First of all, I got rid of 50 brand new agents that I had, lowered my expenses by about $275,000 a year so I could start making profits because as a broker, most brokers don't make a lot of money. And I reached out to Jason Gessing, the CEO of the company, to meet me in New York in January to have a discussion on how it looks for a sizable brokerage to move over. And when I sat down with Jason, a couple of things that were important to me is my brand. Tropical Realty Beachside, again, is a big brand here in Brevard County, Florida. I didn't want to give that up. And I was really concerned about how do I deal with all the commissions and all that stuff because I'm going to lose a lot of revenue. When I sat down with Jason, he said, yeah, you can do Tropical Realty Beachside brokered by eXp Realty. So that kind of changed my whole mindset of my branding aspect. And then the money part I had to figure out. And in the end, for my family, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, it made more sense to switch over. We switched over June 1st of 2017 with 40 agents. And we didn't bring any agents on until September. And September of last year, so just about a year now, a little more than a year, we brought on an additional 310 agents and continue growing in 22 states we're in right now. Moving forward. So it's a great opportunity for me to grow my business throughout the country. In the end, it was the best opportunity for my agents because it gave them way more tools than I could offer and way more opportunity. Again, we'll get into that in a little bit. But that's just a little brief on why I switched. Basically, it was the best thing for my agents and long-term for my family, it was the best thing. Jeff, why don't you give them a little synopsis of why you came over?
Yeah, my name's Jeffrey Funk. I'm based out of Orlando, Florida, and I didn't have the big brokerage that Mitch had. I had a smaller team of when we came over to eXp 10 agents, and one of the things that we had a really good onboarding system. We felt like we had really good systems, but we didn't have the training, the education that eXp could afford us. So they gave us a lot of that portion that we could get our agents more educated, and the tools. The tools were really big. I originally came from 100% brokerage, and one thing that I realized over time that 100% wasn't 100%. I had to bring in a website in, and then once I started getting leads coming in from a website, then I needed to go and I needed to get a CRM and get all my leads into a CRM so I could actually manage what was going on. And then after that, we started getting contracts, and I had no way to organize the contracts. So we bought a system that would help us organize our contracts to close. And it just all costs a bunch of money. And we looked at eXp as tons of opportunity with the education, with all the tools that it gave us. And in the last year, we've actually doubled our business. So the year that we've been with eXp, we did the brokerage change and we doubled our business, huge. And our agents are coming on. We're able to onboard new agents, and they have the education, they have the tools that they need for this system. The other thing that really intrigued me about eXp was the exit strategy. And we'll talk a bit about the exit strategy. I always felt as an agent, I've been an agent for 20 years, that I was only as good as my last sale. And when my last sale, when I decided to retire, I was done. I didn't have any more income coming out, so I'd have to build my own income and build my whole retirement plan. So the tools with the eXp was huge, but also the retirement plan, I kind of like to call it. So that's what was big factors for me, Mitch.
Yeah, and what you'll find when you start talking to people in our business, and I've been in the business for 17 years, is exit strategy. That's the number one thing I hear from people is, I don't know how to get out of the business. And I always thought I had the plan because, I'm this entrepreneur and I know everything because I'm the smartest guy in the world. Yeah, right. And then when I realized I had no exit strategy, I had to say, all right, how do my agents get out of this business? I don't want my agents to have to be 112 years old still selling houses to pay their bills. And again, this is such a great opportunity. So what I want to talk about is a little bit about opportunity. I'm going to give you a quick story, and I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. But it's kind of a funny story, but it's about missing opportunities. And I've learned after this experience that happened to me many years ago to keep an open mind about when things come by my desk and by my plate, because I'm like most people. I always used to say no, I'm too busy, I'm doing well, blah blah blah, and that happened to me. And the quick story behind it is, if you've seen me, you probably don't believe this, but back in the late 70s and early 80s, I played in the rock band. I used to have hair. I actually had hair. Used to have hair down the middle of my back, and played out for 8 years. It was a phenomenal, fun time of my life. And then had kids, and it was time to stop that. Well, 17 years later, one of my best friends and guitar player in the band got a knock on the door, and all of a sudden this kid saying, "You're my daddy." So Joe calls me up, kind of freaking out. He says, "Mitch, this kid called me. He says, I'm his father, and remember the girls from Rockland and blah, 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 blah." And so he's like, "What do I do?" And at the time, Joe has 3 kids. He's married, 3 little kids. And so I said, "Well, get a blood test and see." And that's what he did. And it turns out it was his son that he had no idea about. And he, did the right thing, because that's the type of guy Joe is. He's a great guy, and sent him to college. So anyways, at the time for me, I was the first online dating service. I was traveling 25 days a month. I was known as Mr. Internet in the radio industry. I was an internet guy, helping radio stations understand ancillary products and making money from them. And Joe calls me up and said, "Hey, you got to check out what my son invented." So I went online and I looked at it really quick, and I didn't get it because I'm not a tech guy. I'm a marketing guy. And then I moved on I go, "Joe, I got to go. I got to catch a flight, blah, blah, blah." 3 months later, my son calls me. He's going to UMass Amherst, and he says, "Dad, have you seen this Napster thing?" And because this is an open forum, I won't exactly say what I said, but you could probably imagine. And then the question behind that, and by the way, this is what I believe possibly could have happened. As most of you know and have heard of Napster, Sean didn't make any real money on that because he basically got sued by everybody. At the time, I was friendly with 6 of the top 12 radio station owners in the country. So if I had paid attention to the opportunity, and this is my point, if I had paid attention to the opportunity, what could have I changed in the outcome of Napster for my friend's son with Sean, if I had hooked those 6 radio station owners up with Sean and been involved with that, what could have changed for that whole music platform, those radio stations, the whole way the radio interacts with Napster and those type of companies? I could have been at the forefront of changing something, but instead I missed an opportunity. And by the way, here I am selling real estate, so obviously I've missed a couple of others. So my point behind that story is pay attention to opportunities. And to me, this is one of the best opportunities I've ever seen in my life, which is again why I gave up basically $3.8 million to make the switch to eXp.
So you hear people say that, you have 2 opportunities come in your lifetime, and is this the first or is this the second one? So that's something that kind of always resonated with me.
Yep, and this was the second big one for me. I've had a couple of smaller ones, which frankly didn't do what this did. So for me, when I took this opportunity, it was a scary thing to do, especially when we did it last year. There was only 2,800 agents, and it wasn't really that well known at that point. Now I know it was the best opportunity, and I put my emotions and my ego in check and looked at it strictly from a business standpoint. And I said to myself, the worst case scenario, if this is terrible, I'll just switch my company back to Tropical Realty. And I can tell you one of the cool things is out of the 40 people that joined us, started with us in June of last year, only 2 have left. 1 left the business, and he was part-time anyways. And 1 had an opportunity to join a team, and she had to deal with her family situation, and that was a necessity for her, although she does want to meet me tomorrow, so maybe that's changed. Anyways, going back a little bit on how we were founded by a guy named Glenn Sanford. Glenn is one of the more interesting people if you've ever got to meet him. I was just talking with him the other day on the phone. I'm not going to sit here and read his background for you. We'll give you these slides if you want them. But Glenn's an amazing guy. He came up with this concept, and he was a Keller Williams guy, and basically said there's a better way than Keller Williams with sharing revenue to the agents. And he did that, looking at the revenue share versus profit share. He said, well, profit share is based on how good the local market center does. Revenue share is based on top line revenue. So in 2009, he founded eXp Realty. It's a brilliant, brilliant move.
Mitch, one thing I just want to say about Glenn real quick is, I know that they call you the godfather of lead conversion, but did you know back in the early 90s that Glenn was online on AOL chat rooms converting leads back then? So we have somebody on our helm that, running the ship here that's really been on this online thing for a real long time.
Right. Another thing a lot of people don't know is while he was online at AOL, because they saw how good he was at what he was doing, they actually hired him. So that's a lot of people don't know that. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. Just from being in chat rooms.
Yep, exactly. That's what it was. He was giving advice and doing stuff in chat rooms about internet marketing, and they hired him. And he went very high up in AOL. I don't know the exact where he ended up, but he did really well there. So one of the things that's really interesting when you watch what's going on in the world right now, obviously, we all remember Blockbuster, and I did recently find out there are actually 13 Blockbusters left, and they're all in Alaska. I'm not sure why that is, but that's what's left. But they had the opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million back in the day. Now Netflix is worth $50 billion, and Blockbuster is no longer in existence. Circuit City lost its way to Amazon. In fact, Amazon's taking over pretty much the world right now. And traditional brokerages are becoming eXp. There's more and more brokerages coming over now and switching to eXp because they realize, and this is for the brokers out there, that you have tools that you could never offer your agents and an opportunity to get rid of all the liability and actually make a living and a retirement from this. So innovation is always happening. And one of the cool things about eXp is on a regular basis, they're rolling out new technologies and things to help us become more productive. Very, very cool. We deal with a cloud campus environment. I'm going to take you, show you a couple pictures of that in a little bit. And again, if anybody wants to talk afterwards to be a little more detailed on this stuff, we can. But the cloud campus, we have no desk fees. We work from anywhere. I was in Europe last year at this time, and I was meeting with people in California in our world campus. One of the cool things as a company, we have no brick and mortar cost. So our entire staff of about 250 people right now work out of their homes in our campus. When you have leases and stuff like that, we can invest more money in agent support and more money in technology, which is what we do. Everything is
And
paper.
really keeping it back in the agent's pocket too. Yeah, I think that's one thing that is real important, that we're making this affordable for the agents.
Yes, I mean the tools that you get for what you get, which we'll go over in a few minutes, you couldn't buy for what you pay. And then the nice thing also is the amount of support you have and the training is amazing. For instance, if you want support, you go into the world. That's what we call it, the cloud campus. We call it the world, eXp World. And you go into agent services, and literally within 15, 20 seconds, you can be resolved. A couple of weeks ago, I had a problem with my computer, and I went to tech support in the world, and they just took over my computer, fixed my problem, and I moved on. Even if my agents in the past wanted to come to me and get something from me or one of my admin staff, it generally wasn't going to happen in 15 or 20 seconds. It might have been 15 or 20 minutes, or it might have been 1 or 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, Mitch, I think one thing is when you start using this cloud-based environment, at first you embrace it, and you realize how efficient it is. When I was with the brokers, I'd have to wait for the broker all the time, or I'd have to wait for the admin person, and I had one person, and if they were out at lunch or something, I'd have to wait. If they were out sick, you wait till the next day. We have 250 people, waiting to help agents in the world, and answers get done. It's extremely efficient, and it's game changing. It's a totally industry disruptor.
Yep, absolutely. And with some of the things that you get, and I'm going to go over a few of those tools that you get right now, you get a phenomenal website called KV Core, which used to be Conversion. There's Commissions Inc. available too. Personally, I'm more geared toward KV Core. I like it a little bit better. But they're both great, and there's no additional cost for this. You would normally pay about $500 a month for an individual website with KV Core or Conversion or Commissions Inc. With this, you get it for your small monthly fee that we'll go over in a little bit. If you want lead generation for you, you can pay for lead generation. They'll do pay-per-click marketing for you through their Make It Rain program. The beauty of some of the stuff is the ability to make you build your own business. One of the challenges I've seen for people in our business is they become dependent on somebody else. What we're trying to do is help people become dependent on themselves so they can grow their own businesses. So the CRM is phenomenal. The lead generation is phenomenal. My agents, some of them are even getting leads right now. They haven't done any marketing, but because we're a national platform, with our websites, someone sees their listing online and they're coming and inquiring about properties, which is pretty cool without spending a penny. Not that you're going to get a lot of that, but it does happen. Training. So, my team, we would do training once a month. We still do training once a month for my team. eXp in the world is doing 15 to 25 hours a week. That's every week of live training. It's pretty much you go into the world and go into the auditorium, you'll see something going on. And it's all from industry experts or just top producers in our company. One of the things, I think we talked about this in another slide, is about culture. Our agents love to give back to each other. I'll give you an example. I have a new agent coming on in Tampa, and I sent out a message to people that are in my group and who's in Tampa, and literally I got a half a dozen responses in 15 minutes. How can we help? And that's one of the cool things about that. And the training, I've done training sessions in the world. I love doing it. It's a little strange because you're talking to a bunch of avatars, but I've learned to make jokes with that too, so it's not too bad. But you can learn anything from sales, from listings, lead generation, social media, video marketing, how to use the tools and technology that we have. It's just an amazing amount of live training, and then all of that's archived into recorded sessions. So basically anything that you want to learn is great. We also do a thing, Jeff, and you can talk about this a little bit, but the iConversations.
Yeah, well, I wanted to just touch in real quick about the education. The education, it's just not 101 classes. We're talking, there are those introductory level classes, but we go to high level mastermind stuff too. And you're now collaborating on an international level. So transparency is one of our core values, and we're transparent with one another. We have, what Mitch was going into, it was the iConversations. And iConversations is the top agents in eXp. They have every Friday at 11 o'clock or noon, they have basically coffee talk. Three icon agents will get up on stage and they'll talk about their business. And you get to be basically like a fly on the wall. You can ask questions, but we talk about our business, what brought us to this level, how we got there, and even talk about our failures at some point. Like we did this, oh, that was horrible. You can learn from the top agents in the country and internationally, and just totally transparent. Myself, I run a brick and mortar office, which is another great thing about eXp. They'll let you do hybrids and kind of run your business like you want. But we do every Wednesday, we do a open forum that's lunch at 422 Main, where local agents just come in and we talk to them about their business and how they can, what we do and how they can benefit their business, whether they join us, our team, or not. We try and help agents, and that's a real big thing here.
Yeah, the other thing that we're getting ready to launch with our group right now is mastermind groups, which is really exciting. So because we're right now, I said we're in 22 states, but we have the ability through the world for all of us to collaborate inside of the world. So what we're doing is taking some of our top agents in the group. We have several icon agents in our group that are amazing, and we're all going to share our experiences on how we grew our businesses and what we can do to help you grow your businesses. So you can get as much out of this as you want. So if you want to become awesome, wicked awesome, as we say in Boston, you can be by just educating yourself. If you want to just be alone and do your own thing, go for it. Of course, we always encourage collaboration, because the more we help each other, the more we get. I'm a big universe guy, and it always seems to work. All right.
And I think a lot of things too is me and Mitch live an hour away from each other, but we actually met each other in Nashville at a conference. These are things that used to have to go to conferences on, all around the country to do these types of things and collaborate with people. And now we're doing it in this cloud-based environment, and it is wicked awesome.
Yeah, it's wicked awesome. I love that. So I'm converting you to a Bostonian. I love it.
You are.
so what you're
New Yorker.
Yeah, right. Yeah, go Red Sox. So what you're seeing.
Okay, we're pushing it.
Right. So what you see here is basically just pictures of your online community. Again, reach out to Jeff or I for a private tour of the world. But this gives you, this is what we do. We and I'll be honest with you, I'm 57 years old. When I started looking at this, I was a little all right, this is kind of weird, until I had to use it. But you can go into agent services, you can go into the transaction department, accounting. You can go stop by and see one of the CEO or the marketing director, Mitch Robinson. Everybody's there. We go in all the time and do team collaborations and daily training stuff, and it's just an amazing thing. And it's where the world is going. I'll tell you a stat that I heard that I thought was really interesting. The number one way of communication in the world is avatars, which I was like, no, that's not true. And then I thought about it. I think about my kids and my grandkids, and they're constantly online doing video games with avatars. I mean, that's the way things are going. I recently saw there's a company coming out right now with a exhibition company. So instead of going to a conference in a different state, they're actually doing conferences online with avatars. So you actually have booths you go through, you walk through the thing. So everything is kind of going toward this way. One of the cool things that I just talked to the tech guy, Scott Petraeus, the other day, and they're about to start taking your facial expressions from your computer and putting them on the face of your avatar. I mean, and that might be
cool.
Yeah, it might be a little creepy actually, but it's really it's cool. It's very, 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 very different.
In this online environment too, one of the things that on the slide that shows team collaboration. My team actually meets in this online environment every morning for 15 minutes, and we have, basically 100% attendance. Everybody shows up every day. It's not like a Zoom meeting where you're putting your face on your avatar. You can, we have one person every now and again. I'll hear her when she chimes in. She's on the treadmill, but she made the meeting. She's there and she's contributing. So you can do it, any place, and then we can also join on mobile too. We have a mobile app that you can join.
Right. And the nice thing about this is, like I said, when I was in Europe last year, I just pop in here and meet people and have conversations with people. It's pretty wild. Even some of my group, I have about 75 agents that are in the San Diego area. And what a lot of them have been doing is they've been taking their customers that are out of state, reserving one of the meeting rooms, which don't cost you anything. You reserve a meeting room, meeting their customers in there, putting the MLS on the screen, and doing presentations, buyer presentations, showing them houses right on the screen inside the meeting room. And what that does, and this is what they've told me, is it creates a really unique bond between them because they love the whole experience. It's a unique experience of bringing a customer into the world to do a presentation on listings. It's endless, and this is growing like crazy. They keep adding stuff to this. I'm personally trying to get them to push a sports bar through and have the NFL tickets so I can watch the Patriots games with my friends all over the country. Pretty cool stuff. All right, let's move forward. I want to talk a little bit about the equity opportunity because eXp is a public company. We are the symbol's EXPI. The stock closed yesterday over 18, about 18.50. I don't know the exact number. When we joined last year, it was $2.75 this year. So it's been pretty a great, awesome thing. And there's multiple ways for you to earn stock. So you earn stock on your first transaction. You earn stock when you cap, which we'll discuss in a little bit. You earn stock if you introduce an agent to the company on their first transaction. If you become an icon agent, the cap, which is $16,000, they'll actually give that back to you in stock. So you'll get $16,000 in stock back to you.
And Mitch, that's a huge thing that you just said. They are giving their top agents, they're giving them their entire cap back in the form of company stock. I hope everybody understands they are taking their top agents. What other company is out there that says, hey, you're our top one of our top salesperson. All that money that we made on you, we're just going to give that back to you.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why we're attracting so many top agents around the country.
Yeah. It is pretty amazing. And I guess because I'm not an icon agent, I sometimes don't discuss that as much because I don't sell that many homes anymore. I'm not a bigwig like Jeff is. Jeff's a bigwig. The equity program also, and all of my agents have done this, and I'll give you a quick story on that in a second. You can take 5% of every transaction you do and purchase the stock at a 20% discount. And that stock's there. It's yours to do. One of my agents I was with yesterday, and he did in the last 12 months, he's made $15,000 in stock. And that was before the prices went up the past couple of days. So, just from doing transactions, he's got a retirement income sitting there now that over the next 5 to 10 years, could create $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year for him in stock, which is amazing for anybody. And again, he doesn't have to keep the stock eXp. He can trade it, put it into his 401k, do whatever he wants to do with that. It's a phenomenal opportunity. So that's, again, I always ask people, so how much stock does your company give you when you make a transaction, when you introduce somebody to the company, or when you become an icon agent and do that? Or can you buy their stock? Are they public? I can tell you as an independent broker, if I had sold my company, my agents got absolutely nothing. They got me begging for them to stay, so they didn't. So I got my full payout.
I know what happened when I asked my old broker for a portion. I was the top agent in the office at the time, and when I went and asked that I had like an equity stake in the company, they shut the door on me. So that's this is a very unique proposition where I think that brings a lot of other things to the table too. Is now you have everybody's an owner in the company. Everybody is excited for you to do business. Everybody wants to help you. It works in that transparency of our company. We're all helping one another be better agents.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You look at the business differently when your stock is, and you own part of it, and you own some stock, and how the business that you run affects the company. It's pretty amazing. And one of the cool things about the company is my segue into our revenue share program. So when I was Tropical Realty, the brokerage, if you introduced somebody to my company, which is, by the way, is how I grew my business. I never did recruiting. I put that in quotes that nobody could see. When I never did recruiting, I always had agents introduce other agents to my company, which is pretty much what happens at eXp. People introduce people to the company. That's how we grow. But when someone brought an agent to my company, I would give them $500 on their first transaction and say, thank you so much. Now what happens is, because what they do, what eXp does, is they give you a referral fee on every transaction that agent has that you introduce to the company starting day one. And I have on your screen there, you'll see the different tiers, and I'm not going to go through every tier, and I'll give you a short example in a few seconds. But basically for every 5 people that you introduce to the company, you open up a different level. For those of you that are familiar with the Keller Williams model, it's the same model pretty much, except the difference is it's based on revenue, top line expense versus profit, bottom line expense after everybody else gets paid. Uh, this is a phenomenal opportunity to again create some wealth for you and your family. Jeff, you want to add anything to that before I go to the next slide?
Yeah, it's it's different streams of income. I mean, it's amazing how your business has not just become your sales anymore. Now you're gaining shares in a company. You're building a rev share. You're building wealth on this, and you're not just focusing on one. One thing that we try and teach our agents when they come over to us is to have your lead streams diverse, but this is on a whole nother level about having your income diverse also. That you're getting income from more than one thing now, so it's a very unique opportunity.
Yeah, and one of the things I hear on a regular basis when I meet with people, and I meet with people a lot, and that's why we've grown so big. And they say, "Well, I'm not a recruiter," and I say, "Well, neither am I. I don't like recruiting. I have nothing to do with recruiting. What I do like to do is share with my friends opportunities that I think are amazing. And again, in my 38 years of being self-employed, I've never seen an opportunity like this that gives even agents that don't do a lot of business the opportunity to create revenue. And that's pretty amazing in our business. What does it mean to make an extra $10, $20, $30,000 a year in your life? And how does that help you in your business? I will tell you one thing. Uh, I'll give you an example. I don't personally sell a lot of houses, but the reason why I do well and I refer out, last year I referred out $18 million in sales with an average price of $225 or so. The reason why I attract so much business is because I don't need the business. And when you don't need the business, you give off a different aura. You give off, people are attracted to you because you're not worrying about how am I going to pay my mortgage this month. So the scenario I like to use, which I believe is on the next page, is if you introduce over the next 3 years, and by the way, I don't think the slide says this, but this is what I'm going to say, it's easier. If you introduce 2 people a year, which everybody I talk to says that's not a problem because we all know hundreds, if not thousands, of realtors, and those people over the next 3 years just introduce one person, you can make up to $36,000 a year. So basically, you introduce 6 people on your first line, and they all introduce 6 people, and if they all cap, it would be up to $36,000 a year. But let's say they don't even cap. Let's say they just do a half a cap. So that would be $18,000 a year. And I'll ask everybody the same question. What does an extra $18,000 a year in your pocket do? Does that pay your mortgage? Does it pay your car payments? Does it pay private school for your kid? Does it pay for college? Let me give you one quick story on this because I think it's a great story. I have lots of stories and lots of success stories, but this is one of my favorite. One of my agents, and I won't mention her name because she's very shy, Katie. But so when we had our yearly conversation in the beginning of 2017 about her growth, which I do every year with my agents, she said, "I'm a little scared and I don't know what to do. My daughter's going to college next year, and I have no idea how I'm going to pay for college. I make $65,000, $75,000 every single year. What are my options here?" I said, well, at the time, the only option she had was sell more homes or take on a second job or take out a bunch of loans to pay for college. So when we switched over last year, I said to Katie, Katie, here's your opportunity. And Katie went out and met with one person who happened to be a big team. And that team joined. And that team had, I believe, 8 agents. And now she's got about 5 people directly under her. But because of her work to bring on those 5 people, her revenue share will be up to about $28,500 this year based on the revenue from last year that those same agents did. So think about that. College is 30 grand, and she's going to bring in 28.5. So basically, eXp is paying for her kids' college education. That's how this impacts lives.
And I think a lot of people will say, I don't want to be a recruiter. This isn't about being a recruiter. This is about talking to the people that you know. If you have a good transaction with an agent and you tell them, hey, I'm really happy over here. People want to listen. People, when you're happy, people want to know what you're doing. And we say all the time when we do, team meetings and, agent attraction events, are you having fun in your business? If you're not having fun, take a look and figure out what's going on. It shouldn't matter if it's a Saturday morning or a Monday morning. You should be having fun, and fun's going to attract more people.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I find with our agents, because our culture is so cool and what we do, that we're attracting some of the top agents in the company. I mean, there's a team, and I'm not allowed to say it right now, not team, but a brokerage with 300 agents getting ready to switch over. People who are doing really, really well in real estate. And by the way, I hear that a lot is, well, I'm doing really well. I don't want to rock the ship. Rocking the ship is about you taking care of your family in the future, not what you can make today, although you'll make more usually in our case, but what can you make 5 years from now? And that's the beauty of what eXp is offering. It's the opportunity that I saw immediately, but again, it took me a year and a half to go and 2 years to join, to really take it on because of my ego. And that was the only thing that kept me in the way of doing this, was my ego. My job now is changing people's lives. It is so fun. Sure, I still have my team, but what I find is my team agents ask me a lot less questions now, because most of the answers they can get in the eXp world, or they're being trained better because they are taking advantage of the training that is offered through eXp. So my job every day pretty much is on the phone talking to my agents all over the country and helping them either talk to other agents or helping them with their business plans. I love changing people's lives. It's, to me, the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. It's amazing. All right. And we're going to ask for questions at the end of this. So if you have any questions on this, we'll talk. And again, we can get into a lot more detail on a private one-on-one. Jeff touched on this a little while ago. And I'll tell you one of the things that I'm getting ready to do personally with Jeff and a couple of other friends. International collaboration. So right now we're in the U.S. and 49 of the states in the U.S. and 3 provinces in Canada. And again, I'm in 22 different states. We are all helping each other right now, not just in how to attract agents, but how to grow our businesses. Our goal and my commitment to the people that have joined us is helping them become better realtors. Ultimately, we all have to sell houses or this doesn't work. No brokerage survives without sales. So we get to collaborate everywhere. But if I have to go, I did this the other day. I have 2 of my guys in San Diego wanted to meet with me. We met in the world, and we had a couple of conversations about how to grow their business more and how to become build a team. Some of them want to actually build teams. Right now, they're individual agents. And how do I build a team? And I've done all that. So as with my other people that are highly successful in the business that are part of our group, we want to share that with all of you, because now, I mean, honestly, if you know me, I would have shared it anyways in the past, because I always do. But what we do now is anybody that's part of our organization benefits from us helping them, because we all benefit on a revenue basis. Jeff, you're talking a little bit about collaboration. Why don't you talk a little bit about that for how that's helped you?
The collaboration, I can attribute a lot of my success to collaboration. We're going to all the events that I used to, around the country and all the conventions and meeting people. Collaboration is key, talking to people that are at the top of your business. And now, it's like I said before, it's something that we can do in the world. We can do it in the world. We have meetings in there. We have, people are really out to help you here. And whether you're a seasoned agent or you're a newbie, this is something that you want to know what's somebody doing over in North Carolina or LA. Is it going to work here? What failures have they had? We learn a lot from failures. We even in my family, we try and celebrate failures, because you tried something that didn't work. Well, guess what? You learned that didn't work, and you're going to go on something else. Failures are just as good as wins. So we want to make sure that we can learn from other people, and that's the big thing. As long as you learn from your failures, then it's a win.
Exactly.
And now we can do that and learn from other people about what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah, I can pretty much guarantee you that if we sat down and talked with anybody, things that you're about to spend a lot of money on, we've probably done. And so we've done
Absolutely.
it. And I'll give you an example. I mean, I'm known, Jeff had mentioned the grandfather of lead conversion. I prefer the godfather, but I've heard both. But being a little gray bearded guy now, I'm okay with the grandfather thing.
I think I said godfather.
Oh, did you? Okay, yeah. I like godfather. It makes you feel like a little Italian guy, but my Italian mafia name is Mitch Ribak. But my kids gave me that when I was very, very young. But anyways, when I developed the internet lead program that I do, and that well known for around North America, I didn't do it right for a lot of years. I made millions of dollars of mistakes, and people now, and Jeff can attest this because they follow the same similar systems, is, people have learned so much from what I've taught them on their internet stuff, and I didn't charge them, especially our group. I don't charge anything. I normally charge $2,000 an hour for consulting now, but people that are in our group, I don't charge that because I want to help you be successful. That's what this collaboration thing does. It helps you not waste a lot of money trying to figure things out when you have very, very successful people in our group that are already there to help you. All right, some of the solutions that we have, I'm going to just kind of go through this really quickly. We have a phenomenal branding and marketing site, all within Enterprise. Enterprise is our business solutions, our business intelligence center, where we get to go in and use that to get into everything. We can get into SkySlope, which is our transaction management. You can get into your website. You can get into Workplace, which is our private Facebook community. You can go on, and everything is high-level branding and marketing. It's some of the best tools in the industry we have. And it's
and if you,
good.
I was going to say, Mitch, if for agents, you need a listing presentation. There's listing presentations in there, it's branded to you already. There's listing presentations. There's postcards. There's property flyers. You name it, we probably have it in there for you. So you're not recreating the wheel at any time. We have all this stuff all here for you. A huge suite of of branding and marketing materials for you. So it's a it's total time saver.
Yep, it is. It's pretty amazing stuff. And I'm, again, not going to stay time on the sign, but we're the talk of the country right now. I mean, most of you or all of you have heard of eXp now. I talk to literally, 3, 4, 5 people a day, and once in a blue moon, I get someone that I know who said they never heard of eXp. We're the fastest growing brokerage in the country. We started with 2,800 agents when I came on board. When I started looking at this thing 2 years ago, we had 800 agents. 3 years ago now, 800 agents. So just growing like crazy. And every organization is talking about us. I do want to talk about, and we only have a little bit of time here left, so I do want to get through everything so you guys can hear everything. Transparency is a really important part of our company. It's one of our core values. And when I owned Tropical, it was really interesting. I did commission splits based on who you were. So if you're productive and I liked you, you got one split. If you're productive and I didn't like you, you got a different split. If you're new and I liked you, you got one split. If you're new, if you're new and I wasn't crazy about you, you got a different split. I probably had 4 or 5 different commission splits. In this company, everybody has the exact same fee structure, all the way up from the CEO of the company, and they're all realtors. The CEO is a realtor, all the way down to to the agent. The startup costs are $149. The tech fee every month is $50. The university fee, which, by the way, even myself, who I train everybody, I still pay a $35 a month university fee. So that makes your fees are very, very low, $85 a month, and that includes your websites and everything that we've talked about so far. On your transactional side, there's a $25 broker review fee and a $40 E&O insurance fee. And these are US dollars, by the way. On the commission side, everybody gets an 80-20 commission split. And we have a $16,000 cap. I'll explain that real quick because some people don't know what a cap is. Basically, that means you're only going to pay $16,000 to the company in commission, and then for the remainder of the year, your anniversary year, you will get 100% commission. So some people who have higher end price range, like a lot of our friends in San Diego or even Orlando, where Jeff's market is, they might cap in 3 or 4 or 5 transactions. And people like in my county here, it might take 15 or 17 transactions. But either way, once you cap, you get $16,000 back. And then, as we said earlier, if you become an Icon agent, which is capping plus 20 transactions, then
20 transactions at $250. Your commission split you go to 100%. So you do $250 transaction fees. So it's 20 transactions at $250 each.
Right, and then you get your $16,000 back in.
Company stock.
Yeah, thank you. I do have a quick question while we're here. It says, does eXp Realty have conferences? If so, how many per year? Yeah, we actually do. And it's actually really, really cool because you get to meet people that you talk to all the time that you've never met. This year, our conference is in New Orleans. It's in a couple weeks, sometime in October. I'm not sure the exact dates off the top of my brain. And then we also do an annual shareholders meeting. This last one we just did back a few months back was in Las Vegas. So twice a year we get together as a group. But also, what also happens is once a year in Florida, we have a Florida meeting where we all get together and collaborate and talk, and people like myself or Jeff get on stage and discuss how we're being successful with the company and what we can do to help. And it's like I said, it's one of those moments when you get together and realize that wow, you're actually a real person behind the avatar. You're not you're not just a cartoon figure. You're a real person who's really successful. It's very, very.
And
very
people are excited to see you. That's the funny thing. It's like, oh, that's Mitch.
Yeah.
And they're all excited to see you. The conference it's on October 23rd and 24th in New Orleans.
Okay. Yeah, and it's really cool. And the number one comment I get, they say, "You seem a lot taller in the world." I'm like, "Yeah, thank you." All right. So, anyways, this is the desk fees. There is no franchise fees. There's no royalty fees. This is just your typical commission structure and the standard cost of running your business. Remember, I said earlier, just the website alone would cost you $500 a month if you were buying the website, a KV Core website.
The tools are amazing, Mitch.
Yeah.
KV Core Sync would run an agent $1,600 a month alone, and they're getting it for this and everything else for $50 a month.
Yep, pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
And then, then the growth, which I kind of hit on a little bit. When we joined in 2017, June, there was 2,800 agents, and you could see it. They waited until I joined, and then they skyrocketed because they all love me. Sure, it's all because of me. The growth has been phenomenal. We're adding about 1,200 new agents per month right now. So the growth is just nonstop. The stock prices, like I said, were $275 when we started. Now we're at I don't know what it is today, but it was 1850 something last night when it closed. So it's just on a huge trajectory. 1895.
Right.
Crazy.
1895 at September 20th, 10:15.
Yep, crazy. Our core values, and I'm not going to read through these individually and stuff, but it's one of the things I hear a lot is, what is, right now I like the culture of my company. And I get that. I mean, at Tropical Realty, we had an amazing culture. And I told people, our culture is actually better now than it was back then, because we're getting answers quicker. There's less frustration from my agents. But we are all about community. We get together locally. We're organizing right now a group in Tampa that's getting ready to get together. And we're finding these little areas around the country. You're all starting to get together and meet each other, even though they may not be in each other's organization. They're all in the same company, and we're all here to help each other. Fun is huge. I mean, if you know me, it's my entire life is about fun. My motto is, if it ain't fun, I ain't doing it. Agile. This is one of my favorite core values. We have the ability to change dramatically on a light switch, basically, the switch of a button, because most companies that are brick and mortar don't have that ability because their inherent costs are ridiculous. Sustainability, same thing. Again, service, and not just service to our customers, but service within the company. Amazing stuff. Integrity.
Absolutely.
I get literally, because we were one of the biggest brokerages to switch over, I get 5 calls a week from agents that I have no financial benefit from, who call me wanting me to talk to a broker friend of theirs that's interested in coming on because of my brokerage experience and the switchover that we did. And I helped a lot of brokers switch over now. I don't have any financial gain from that, but it's in the best interest of the company, and that's the culture of our company. It's let's help each other rock, and if we all rock together, we're all gonna kick butt.
Mitch, I really hope that the people on this call really take a hard look at this eXp core values, because this is who we are. If you find that you align with all these, then I think you found a home here. And if this isn't you, we wish you luck, but we're looking for people that are looking for this.
Yep.
This is and we live by these. I have a brick and mortar office, and this is the first thing you see when you walk in the office is our core values.
Yeah, and it's something we I don't want to say preach, but we talk every day to our teams, to our agents. When we bring on a new agent, we discuss it with them, and one of the things that makes us such a powerful company is the agents and how amazing they are. And again, I would never have thought that this could be created in an online environment, but we have. It's just amazing. All right, we're almost done here. All right,
Mitch,
so
the first, real quick, the first time that when we first joined last year, so we've been almost a year to the day now, but we went to the conference in Fort Lauderdale last year, and I was blown away by the enthusiasm of the other agents and the help of the other agents, and it really sold me on this company. And it's all just gotten better and better since then
good.
too.
I got a great question for each of us, Jeff. So we'll answer that real quick. What is the one thing you each love most about eXp Realty? I would honestly say is the community. The ability for me to reach out. Oh, the community collaboration, maybe. Actually, all of these things I love. But the one thing that I love the most is the ability for me to call. Let me give you an example. One of my, Jeff does a lot of luxury properties. We don't have a lot of luxury over here in Brevard County. We have some, but not a lot. And so one of my agents really wants to get into the luxury community. So that she's been talking with Jeff and Renee about how to create a more luxury, brand. How does she become willing with more luxury people? I've hooked her up with my San Diego agents who are doing, 6, 10, $8 million sales, and they're helping us. So those abilities to reach across state lines, across city lines and borders to be able to go to anybody in the community to ask for help. I needed some help in Tampa this morning. I put an email out. I literally got 6 responses in less than 10 minutes. That's amazing to me. Jeff, yes?
Yeah, I think it's along the same lines, the opportunity that this company affords to all the agents, the transparency, the help of everything, the rev share and the stock, that's awesome. But I think the bottom line is we're one of the best real estate companies, in my opinion, the best real estate company out there. We're attracting the top agents, and they want to help you grow. And where else do you get these top people that are there for you? The opportunity is amazing.
Right, absolutely. All right, we're going to finish up in a few seconds. I want to talk to you about my why. Because again, everybody asks me why I did this. I get that conversation almost on a daily basis. In fact, this morning I was at a Boys and Girls Clubs breakfast charity event, and one of the brokers was in the room, and he came up to me and said, "I don't get it." He goes, "You're so big, and now you're just an agent within eXp." I go, "Well, actually, I'm a team leader, but I'm not the broker anymore." And I told him what I told you guys earlier. But I also said, for my family, I have a really important mission, and you're looking at her on the screen right now. Lola is my granddaughter. She's 12 years old. That's Bella, her service dog. Lola was born with a very rare disease called Sturge-Weber syndrome, and I'm not going to get to the details of it, but it's a pretty nasty disease. And we're very blessed. Lola's in the top 1% of it. It's a brain disease. 95% of Lola's brain is pretty much gone, the right side of her brain. And we're blessed enough that the pathways to the left side built the veins to the left side build pathways to the right side, and she's functionally phenomenal. She has about 3 or 4 seizures a year. But when that fell apart, 3 or 4 seizures a month, I'm sorry. When the deal fell apart to sell my company, I was like, oh my God, how do I make sure that Lola's taken care of long after I'm dead? And so the cool thing about eXp is whatever I build in a revenue share platform and in my stock portfolio, that can all be shifted to a separate corporation when I die for my family. And so even though I may be dead until the revenue share runs out, which it'll run out at some point because everybody's going to die, but at some point it's going to, it'll transfer from me to them. So it might be 5 years or 10 years that she gets revenue from this, or our estate gets revenue from this. But for me, this is my why. So what I always talk to people about, and this isn't just about joining eXp, this is about your life. What's your why? What makes you get up in the morning and sell houses? What makes you get up in the morning to help people? Again, I was at a charity event before this morning. What makes me go to charity events? What makes me give back to my agents all the time? It's Lola, because Lola's changed my life. 12 years ago, when she was born, my wife and I's lives changed forever, as well as our daughter. And for a lot of people, they might say that was a curse. For me, I look at it as such a blessing because we got an amazing young lady, and no, she's still a girl. And we are able to touch not just our realtor friends and not just my friends, but we could change people's lives around the country who are afflicted with this disease. So pretty much amazing. Jeff, what about yourself? What's your why?
I family. I mean, it all comes down to family too, and I really like the opportunity, like you said, that you can put this as the road share and everything will outlive me, and it's always nice to know that there is another stream going beyond me, and it'll outlive me. So I agree with you 100%. That's a great thing. I'm also on the board for a local Edgewood Children's Ranch here in Orlando that we help troubled children to get back into their families. We take them, and it's a great organization. But Mitch's organization, and Mitch does so much for this. He has a golf tournament coming up real soon here. The things that you do for Lola it's awesome.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Well, you search your entire life looking for your purpose, and we found our purpose. So we're very blessed. I mean, it's just amazing stuff. So I'm going to leave you all with this. What's your why? What will be different for you next year in your business? What does the next 5 years look like for your business? The one thing I wanted for my agents when we made the switch was I want them to have to stop chasing the buck. And for some of them, an extra $10, $20, $30,000 a year changes their lives dramatically. For some people, it doesn't. But for a lot of people, I would say most realtors, anything extra, even $10,000 a year, what does that do for your life? That pays your car payments, might pay your mortgage. What does your retirement look like? Where do you plan to retire? How are you going to retire? Again, I'm 57 years old. I'm trying to retire at 60. And when I say retire, that means cut down to 40 hours and only work 40 hours a week. That'll be part-time. What does it look like for you? And finally, just from personal experience, and you can probably look back into your life and find an opportunity that you may have missed, you may have passed by. This is a great one. And I share this with everybody because I passionately believe, and I gave up a lot of money to do that this is a great opportunity for you. And I really appreciate you being on the call today. And if there's anything I can do to help, I'll be sending out some contact info to all you guys from me and for Jeff. Jeff, any parting words?
I just think that, like you said, there's only so many opportunities that come along. It's still a ground floor opportunity, and I think that most of the agents that I've talked to at eXp, the one thing that everybody says, I wish I would have joined sooner. A year from now, are you going to wish you joined today, or are you going to be still, are you just getting in? And so take a look at it. Give Mitch or myself a call. We're here to talk to you. We're here, this is sincere here. We're here because we really believe in this company, and I think that's the great thing.
It is, and I didn't ask before we hang up the phone. Does anybody have any questions before we go? I'll just give a few seconds here. I know
I can't see the questions on my side.
Yeah, I got them here. Anybody just type in your questions if you have any questions. If not, we'll call it a day. Going once, going twice. Again, thank you so much for attending today. I really appreciate it. It's an amazing opportunity. We'd love to have the opportunity to talk to you. Take care and be good. We'll talk soon.
Hey, thanks everybody for taking your time. Have a great day.